Ahoy! Happy to be here again. Happy to welcome you all again on our daily 30 minutes of intense film conversation and discussion in the Zlín Film Festival live internet TV panel. Again, I promised you yesterday we would do better when it was about female guests in the show, but even if we have a couple of very nice specimens here with us, all of them again are male. But still very happy to have you here. Today is a special day in the Zlín Film Festival. We will be talking a lot in the Congress Center. We've been talking all day about film industry. We have a lot of industry representatives there with us. Today on stage, it's not so much purely industry. I mean, this guy looks like the new George Clooney, but actually he's not an actor, he's a director. His name is Wouterlood, and he's here with the film My Extraordinary Week with Tess? Summer with Tess, yeah. In our languages it was week, in your languages. Then we have the main actor in that same film. He might look like a rich sales agent, but he's actually a young star actor named Sonny Coops van Utteren. This guy, you might think he's the famous Bollywood singer and dancer, and maybe he is, but as far as we know, his name is Safdar Ahman, and he's here with a beautiful film called Chippa. And if you thought this was the famous Czech belly dancer, you might be wrong, because it's Jiří Konečný. He's a producer, for instance, from the film Winter Flies, that was already screened in the festival but will be screened again on tonight. And as far as my information goes, he's one of the best and most interesting producers in the Czech Republic. And I think you can agree with that? Yeah. Okay. We'll have short conversations with every one of you. But it would be useful if you always thought about interesting questions for your other panel members, because if we have time enough, I would like to motivate you to ask each other more interesting questions than I can come up with. Steven, you are here with a very special film. Well, you were here before. Maybe we should just tell the guests, tell the audience how much of a friend of the Zlín Film Festival you are.
I'm a very good friend of the Zlín Film Festival since I came here 3 years ago. I was invited by Marketa, and I was in the jury of the student competition. That was my first time in Czech Republic and in Zlín, and it was an amazing time. And we became like a family, and so I said 3 years ago, like I definitely want to come back with my first feature film, come back in Zlín, and now is the moment. And I'm here with my first feature film, My Extraordinary Summer with Tess, together with Sonny, the actor, the main actor of the film. And well, it's so great to be back.
I can tell you that your first visit to Zlín made like a quite strong impression on the local community.
Yes, a lot of Slimovic, and yeah, it was a great fun. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Steven also does very well on the dance floor, just for your information.
Thank you so much.
As he will show us right now.
No, maybe later.
Steven, so you came here with a film called My Extraordinary Summer with Tess. It's a film that, as the title says, takes place over the course of one summer, where a young boy discovers a lot about himself with the help of a very extraordinary young girl named Tess. Can you somehow complete this very short resume?
Yeah, well, I think it's a good summarize of the movie. So he's on holiday with his family, with his older brother and parents, and he's a guy who is very, who is thinking a lot and try to get answers and thinking about death. Like he's afraid of being left alone as the youngest of the family, that he is when he's old, that he will be the latest who will die, and that's one of his thoughts. And so one of the things he is going to do this holiday is practice to be alone. So that he calls it loneliness training. And so being alone every day a bit longer without his family. But then he meets a girl named Tess, and she's very extraordinary and funny and very. They're kind of like soulmates. They are very, both a bit like, maybe a bit like weird, or they. Well, they become soulmates and friends, and there's a love interest growing, and she is looking for someone. I'm not going to spoil too much, but well, there starts a big adventure with these two kids, and so it's about family relationships, about love, about life, and yeah.
There was a screening this morning. Maybe I should ask Sonny how it went, how it felt to be here on stage with the film.
Yeah, it was really nice. I liked the audience; they were really enthusiastic, and on the things in the Netherlands, we laughed about very other things than they did here. So that was.
It was different.
Yeah, it was very fun to see. Yeah, like that.
Okay. Often directors say they were surprised that they laugh at the same moments, but here there's a different sense of humor.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Is it that the Dutch don't have a good sense of humor? Or?
No, but it's an other sort of humor. It's in the Czech. It's others than in the Netherlands. They laugh about other things.
But I'm sure they appreciated the movie a lot.
Yeah, they do.
Steven, about this movie, it's what was striking me is that it is the adaptation of a book. It's a very verbal story. There's a lot of little bit weird dialogues, but you translated them into very strong pictures, because even if the story is very verbal, what you get on the screen is just a beautiful selection of fantastic pictures that go really well with the environment where the story takes place, and with the special sky that you have on the island. And so how did you translate words into pictures?
Well, it was a challenge to translate the book into a film. I think it always is, because it's a different medium. And for example, in the book, you read a lot of the thoughts of Sam all the time, like his inner voice. But in a movie, you don't want to add like all the time his voice over and to explain everything. You want to show it in scenes and in shots, and so. Yeah, I worked with a really good screenwriter, Laura van Dijk, and we took time to develop the script, and I also worked very intensely with the DOP, director of photography, Sal Kronenberg, and yeah, we had a great crew and cast, and yeah.
You spent the whole. The film is set on an island. You spent your summer on the island, I suppose, but there's also a strong island feeling in this film. I asked you before, there's something weird about islands where life seems to be a little bit isolated from the outside world. How did this ooze so smoothly and so nicely into the film, this island feeling?
Well, it's a beautiful island itself, the island of Terschelling in the north of the Netherlands, and we were very lucky with the weather also. Last summer it was very warm, so for our movie it was very good. And I think when I was young I came on these islands too, and I think it's, for a child, it's like a playground where you can play like freely, like it's more safe, I think, than on well, on an island, yeah, you can go away. So parents, I think, maybe they think, okay, the kids are fine. So Sam and Tess have the freedom to explore the world and to do their own thing. And I think that's a beautiful, also a beautiful thing.
Sonny, you had to spend the summer on Terschelling, on the island. How was it? Did you feel like a tourist, or did you feel like an actor?
Both. It was like, when I was acting in front of the camera, I was an actor, but when I was home, I felt like a tourist. But on Terschelling is a special island because you don't feel you are on an island, because it's very big, and the beaches are also very long and wide. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And as far as I remember, you asked like tourists on the island to be as extras in the film? I mean, did they walk in and out of the picture?
Yeah.
Did you work together with the local community?
No, we had, how do you say that? We asked them when they came out of the boat, like, would you help us to, yeah, how do you say that?
But I think we had a lot of cooperation with the local people and the people of the island, and also extras, like real people, like tourists. We, like the producers, asked them to if they want to be an extra in the movie. So, yeah, there were sometimes they were really real tourists.
Safdar, how was that in Calcutta? Did you involve, I mean, the film Chippa tells a lot about life in the city. Did you integrate the real city life into the story?
I mean, most of the cast are people who live in Calcutta. Calcutta is a big city. It's 17 million people, so lots and lots of people. And with that many people, when you're shooting in the city, it's difficult sometimes to shoot just people on the streets, because crowds form very easily, and so it becomes more difficult to control the crowd than to bring in people. But but the film is very much an ode to the city and its inhabitants. That's what the film is about.
Yeah, maybe we should tell a little bit about the story. It's about a little boy who is confronted with a problem, and we follow him over the course of one night.
Yeah, that's right.
On a journey through the city, where he gets in contact with all sorts of people, and then by when day breaks again, I think it's not much of a spoiler, but somehow the problem will be solved in a way.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the story is essentially of this boy who lives on the pavement with his grand aunt, and decides one evening that it's time for him to leave home, and he gets a letter that has been written by his father, whom he has never known, and he gets out to the city in search of who has written this letter and how it could lead to his father. And so it's one 10-year-old boy who's navigating the streets of the city alone at night, and the different people that he meets, who are people you would meet if you were walking around the city at night. And so the people represent the city in many ways, and they are all actors who are from the city itself.
You know that I like the film very much. I already gave you some compliments about it. The tricky thing is I saved my most tricky question for today.
Okay.
Because there's one thing that I thought was a little bit strange about the film. Everyone is so sweet with the boy. I mean, some of us have been in India, and it's a little bit weird to see how a policeman puts a boy on his motorbike and says, "I'll take care of you, I'll bring you home." I mean, last time I saw a situation like that, they had a long stick and they know how to use that.
I mean, I'm glad you asked that question, and it was a very conscious choice for us to explore the city in one way. But what we often realize is very often at nights are associated with things that are dark, with crime, or with the danger that is around. But we don't very often see life at night from the perspective of a young boy. And if you see a young boy on the streets of a city like Calcutta, which I think inherently has people who are nice and sweet, I believe that your first intention is to help. And I think it so happens that the people he meets, sometimes the conversations move from being threatening to becoming sweeter and nicer as the conversations go along. So when you mentioned the policeman, but when the policeman first meets the child, he's not very friendly. Mm-hmm. But as the conversation goes along, it's also the charm of the little boy who can manage to strike conversations with whomever he meets and get them on his side. So I think a lot of that has to do with this special child who's traveling the streets, and we wanted to portray a side of the night, and as dangerous as it may be, it's also very beautiful. and to see people who live the streets, at night.
How is your biorhythm at the moment?
No, it's okay.
It's okay?
It's okay.
The reason why I ask you is because this film gives you a very natural idea that it was shot during one night. It feels like one organic story.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think it was shot in one night.
No.
Second, you must have been like living in reverse for weeks, sleeping by daytime and filming by nighttime?
Yeah, I mean, easier for us than the actor. Our lead actor is also called Sonny, by the way. His name is Sonny, and he's a 10-year-old boy. It's much tougher for him than it is for us. I mean, we are professionals at the end of the day, so you get used to it. It wasn't shot over one night; it was shot over a few nights. But most of the film is at night, and indeed we switched it around. We switched our lives around as much as possible to get as much sleep as possible in the day. But also, if you're shooting in exterior locations in a city as busy as Calcutta, it's helpful to shoot at night because there are less people, and it's also fun to explore the city, and how it looks at night.
Sonny, how was it for you? I mean, not that you were up all night every time, but how demanding was it to be working so intensively on a film a whole summer long?
No, I liked it much because the people on set, they really helped me, because when I was off set, they took me back to the place we can hang out, and then I could rest, and then we go to the set to film, and then when we're done, we go back. So it was very nice and not very intensive.
Sometimes it was very warm and heavy, and so of course sometimes it's like exhausting and complicated to work these long days. But of course we try to take care of the kids and make fun also, like doing crazy and dance and sing between the shooting. So I think that for me it also makes it lighter when we make fun on set.
You agree on that, Sonny?
Yeah.
They took care of you?
Yes.
Safdar, I was in your screening this week, I heard the Q&A, and I thought there was one question coming from the audience that I thought was very interesting, and it was about the language thing. Part of the problem that Chippa, your protagonist, has to deal with is that he has a letter that is written in Urdu, a language that he doesn't understand. I thought it was only a practical thing. I never asked you about it, but then when the question came from the audience, you came with an answer that revealed quite a lot about the story. It's more than just a language thing.
No, definitely. I think one of the special things about the film is that it deals with a lot of languages, and I think that's also one of the special things about India as a country, which is that it's a country which has many languages. Every 200 kilometers that you move, there's a new language that somebody's speaking. So the letter that he receives is from his father, is written in this language called Urdu, which has been a language of the poets from back in the day. It's not a language that is spoken a lot today. It's spoken in present-day Pakistan and in different parts of India, but it's a language that is slowly dying. And in many ways, our film is a homage to that specific language. But even other than that, inside the city, we meet a lot of people who come from different parts of India, and they speak different languages. So there is a lot of play between. There's Bengali, which is the predominant language, which is spoken in Calcutta. There's a lot of Hindi, which is the North Indian language predominantly spoken in majority of the country. There is a letter in Urdu, which is spoken in Pakistan, and a lot of play happens between these languages and how people communicate with each other as well.
Do you speak the language?
Urdu, no. Hindi, yes. Bengali, yes. But very often we speak many languages in the day. So I speak 3 languages every day, depending on who I'm meeting and where they come from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Last time when we heard you, there was this question, how do you feel in Zlín? And your answer was quite strong. I just arrived 10 minutes ago. Now you arrived...
Now it's been a day. No, it's lovely to see. It's lovely to see so many kids around, so many filmmakers around. It's a beautiful city, and just so vibrant. So many people and great vibe. So far so good. So far so good. I'm loving it.
Jiří, to me, Czech language sounds at least as exotic as Hindi and Urdu. How is it to you?
I love it. Shall I speak Czech or English?
I would prefer to speak English as long as we're on live.
Dobře, budu mluvit anglicky.
Although one of the reasons why I accepted this job is because I was so happy to say every day ahoy, because that was special to me. And you've been longer than 10 minutes in Zlín before. This is where are you from in Czech Republic?
I'm from Prague. Originally, I'm from a city in the south called České Budějovice, but I live in Prague now.
And you're here today as a representative of the Czech film industry. Maybe you can describe a little bit about what is your position in this industry.
I'm a producer by profession. So I produce documentary films and fiction films, produce already more than 25 of full-length films. And I'm also a member of Board of Producers Association, and I'm also a member of Czech Film and Television Academy. So I'm quite active in the industry, and I think the industry is lively and prospers.
Your film Winterflies won an award in this small Czech festival that maybe some people have heard about in this city called Karlovy Vary.
Yeah, we won the Best Director award there. Yeah, and Karlovy Vary, it's a stunning festival. I mean, Zlín is the oldest, as far as I know. Karlovy Vary is the biggest, let's say, in Czech Republic.
I know, I was only provoking
I know.
them. I mean, I'm not Czech, I can do that.
They are not here, so let's go.
Of course they're not here. What did you think? Well, is there any cooperation between Czech festivals? Is there something, let's say, how important is the role of festivals for the Czech film industry?
I love them, the festivals, and I think the role is still growing. Or it's even more important because I see that now in cinemas it's a hard time for quality movies, let's say, because the bigger movies get bigger share and the smaller movies are becoming smaller and smaller. So the festival audience and the festival distribution is a distribution for itself, and many movies I produce, they have more viewers in the festival circuit than in the cinemas in any country.
Oh, yeah?
Not just Czech Republic. Yeah, and I also believe that it's because there is the audience that is much more ready to see what they want to see, sometimes more difficult films or special films, and they are in the mood, while at the same time when you end up your day and you want to go to the cinema in the evening, usually you just choose an easier way, something that is more amusing or something that is more, let's say, commercial or mainstream, yeah. Which is, I don't blame anybody for doing that. It's just the reality of the life we're living. And in special cases, India. I've seen quite a lot of Bollywood films. This is a special genre for, I mean, by the way, I had really amazing experience in Indian cinemas, like people standing in rows, fighting and clapping hands and whistling, and whenever they see the villain, they are like against it vocally and stuff like this. I like it.
What I liked a lot is when I was in Indian festival and there was a short film, and when the
short film, you mean by 1.5 hours?
A 12-minute short film. And people liked it so much that then afterwards, they, like in a music concert, once more, and then they played it once more. That was nice.
I've been in India to they said second biggest cinema in the world.
Really?
It was in Rajasthan. It was huge. I never seen a screen like this.
Your film was screened already on Saturday and will be screened again tonight. It's called Winterflies, and I think we should use this occasion to have a 5-second or a 5-sentence pitch. Why should people? What is this about, and why should people go and watch it?
It's about freedom. It's about two boys that just go in a car. They are not supposed to go in a car because they are underage, so they are not allowed to drive yet, but they drive, so it's also dangerous. And we see the film from two perspectives, because there is the journey, the very journey, and then there is the police station. One of them is being interrogated. And the interesting thing about the film is that we don't know what is actually true and what is made up stories that the boy is making up. So he's also somehow making his own life, or what he would maybe dream about or maybe not. So this for us it's on the edge of reality and fiction in your head, of what is basically true or not, and also about the force of storytelling itself.
It is screened in a Children and Youth Film Festival. It has young characters. Still, do you think it's a logical choice for a festival to play this film for a young audience?
It is, although I think it's on the edge. It's we had a big discussion about it, and we are actually still not sure whether it's more for the adult audience or for the youngsters. Because sometimes with the films like this, I just been watching one of the films here, and I will go to watch another one in the youth category. And it is sometimes difficult, because you address some topics that you are not sure whether kids or youngsters will get, but I believe they will, because we tend to think of them that they have to be protected, but I don't think so that they have to be protected so much, because at the age of 10, 12, 14 I was reading very adult books and watching very adult films all the way at the same time. For example, I had a film here in Zlín before called Little Harbor, Pátá loď, which was also awarded here. It was also awarded at Berlinale, and the film has a tricky story, because adults think that the film is too harsh for the kids to watch it, so they tend to protect them for watching it. And at the same time, a kids jury at Berlinale gave it the Crystal Bear. Yeah. So the kids were really into the film, and they praise it. But we had a difficulty in distribution, how to position it on the market, because the parents were afraid to show the film to the kids somehow.
Are you ready to face a sold-out theater tonight?
It is sold out already. Yeah.
Why do we promote it, the film? And it's sold out already, and that is something that happens to us every night now, and that says something about festivals, I think, because it is, and I heard it being said by one of the festival programmers, we have educated our audience. It's a little bit of a bad word, or it sounds a little bit like paternalistic, educated, and that was not the word she used. But it seems that after all those years, the festival was able to create an audience that in the evening decides to come to see films that are on the edge. And every night the theater is sold out.
At the night of finale of European League, just a joke. But there is the Chelsea playing Arsenal tonight. But yeah, that's great that they are going to the cinema. And I think for every festival, the audience is the treasure. I mean, without the audience, any festival doesn't make sense. And I'm so happy about it, because for us to see a full cinema, I mean, for us all, the filmmakers, it's the best. You know? So this is great.
I think this is a message that we should take with us this afternoon when we're going to face the industry people again who are gathering here today in Zlín. Where will you be tonight? Will you be in the cinema or watching football?
Switch. So I will introduce the film. I will try to watch us as much as possible, because my son is a Chelsea fan, a big one, so I have to root for Chelsea, I'm sorry. But and then I will be doing Q&A, so I will manage somehow.
Okay. You still have screenings later this week in the festival? We have like half a minute to tell us when will your film be on later this week?
We're playing today actually at 4:30.
Yeah.
Which is our second screening. We had our first screening yesterday.
And people can come to see your film?
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning?
10:30 or 11. Tomorrow morning.
Okay.
My Extraordinary Summer with Tess.
So that's a good reason to get out of your bed tomorrow morning and line up in the cinema at the Golden Apple to see these fantastic films. It was great to have these people here. It was great to have you here with us, and we're looking forward to have you here again. Have great fun in Zlín. Thank you for being here, and ahoy!